Myrkur gets way too much hate. It's a surefire way to get all the black metal purists to start disliking the video. Because she certainly has had a lot of music endeavours in other genres as well, like folk and pop and rock. However, her venture into black metal was a bit more from left field. No one really kind of expected it, but it was kind of interesting to see her combine this black metal influence with elements of Nordic folk. And although I didn't really think her debut album M was that great, it wasn't because of the style of the music. I actually really liked the stylistic fusion of these two different genres. I thought she had a lot of capability as a performer, as an artist, venturing into this genre that is typically considered to be very dark and brooding, and M certainly had that. I just thought that production-wise and songwriting-wise, it was extremely weak. Thrashy screaming, just sounded extremely tacky and almost like a half-hearted parody of the genre, even though I don't think that was the intention, but it certainly sounded extremely overdone and completely over the top and exaggerated to the point where it just got extremely incessant. The songwriting was a little wishy-washy and meandering, didn't really end up going anywhere, and some of the more melodic moments just felt extremely clean and flat. I wanted to like M, however. Some of the technical aspects of the writing and the performances just weren't that up to scratch for me personally. However, I do think that she made incredible improvements to her songwriting and performances and just in general on her sophomore album here, which I can't really pronounce, and I probably won't be able to pronounce many of the titles in this review correctly, so forgive me. Mareridt certainly does still stick in like its black metal influences, but it certainly is not solely or mainly a black metal album. In fact, I think that might be the mistake label thrown on this album. It certainly has its extreme moments with lots of screaming and thick layers of dark, brooding guitar sounds that sound very similar to an atmospheric black metal record or just black metal in general. However, I think at a lot of times it kind of shares characteristics with a whole lot of other genres like ethereal wave, gothic rock, of course Nordic folk as well. You hear some of those typical instruments coming into the fold on plenty of tracks on here. And on tracks like Crown you get this very lush chamber pop ballad, certainly something that won't really intrigue one of those black metal elitists that kind of go against what Myrkur does stylistically, but certainly for those who want to listen to Myrkur's albums as they stand on their own, then they'd certainly be intrigued by the beauty of the performances and the melody. I think there's just a whole lot of beauty to be found on this album, even in some of its most extreme moments, like on tracks such as, Måneblôt, Elleskudt, Ulvinde. Sorry, I'm really giving it a go. I love these tracks because they have this urgency, they have this fierceness that really does sound extremely dark and brooding. Not like it's half-heartedly trying to pull off that atmosphere like on her last record. This time it actually does sound very brooding and heavy and atmospheric and dark, and this pit of abyssal blackness that permeates my soul. Speaking of artists that pull this kind of atmosphere off in their own music, Chelsea Wolfe appears on this album as well for a very intriguing collaboration. I do think that Myrkur and Chelsea Wolfe have a lot of potential as a collaboration duo. I would love to see them collaborate more in the future. In fact, one of the bonus tracks on this album features them again, so that's pretty cool. I don't necessarily think Myrkur is like reinventing the wheel, and I do think that at times, you know, the album feels a little fragmented, but the atmosphere definitely is pulled off. It certainly sounds more like a heartfelt tribute to the like many genres and the styles of music and the scene of music that is clearly inspired from. It sounds more sincere and genuine as a tribute to that. So I kind of respect that a little bit more. I did enjoy this a lot. The only kind of main, really drawback on this album was the final track on here, which was called, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that one, where you hear these really weird demonic baby spoken word vocals that sound like not even that intimidating or scary. They just sound really stupid. It just sounds completely out of place, and it's actually very difficult to take seriously, which is a bit of a shame. I feel like a lot of people will just take that as an example to slam Myrkur again for the music she makes, when in actual fact the rest of this album is actually incredibly impressive. I think it actually captures the potential that Myrkur had on her debut and just improves. I'm giving this album a 7 out of 10. Woo!